Lesson 9.0, Measures of Center and Dispersion. There are a few basic statistics everybody needs to know. The first are measures of central tendency, which would be a number used to represent the center or middle of a set of data values. And the most common one is the mean, or average of n numbers is the sum of the numbers divided by n. So you add up all the numbers and divide it by the number of numbers, and its symbol is this little x with a bar over the top. The next measure of central tendency is the median. This is also very common. It's the middle number when the numbers are written in order. So you just put all the numbers in order. The median's the middle. If you have an even number of numbers, so there's no middle number, it's the mean of the two middle numbers. And the median then tells you that half of the data is higher than that and the other half is lower than that. So it tells you right where the middle of the data is. And this is used for very large data sets usually, like when they're doing income analysis for the United States. They look at the median income. They don't look at the average, they look at the median. The median is less skewed by crazy 5 billion, trillionaires or whatever that like the mean is. The last measure of central tendency is the mode, which is the number or numbers that occur the most frequently. There may be one mode, no mode, or more than one mode. It's whatever one's there the most. If they're all there once, you say there's no mode. But if there's several different numbers that are there the same amount of time and it's the most of any of them, you put them all down as the mode. Alright, so here are the winning scores of 6 baseball games. Find the mean, median, mode. Alright, so for the mean, you add together all the numbers and divide by the number of numbers, which is 6.33. For the median, so that was the mean. For the median, you have to write the numbers in order from smallest to biggest. So 3, 5, 5, 7, 8, and 10. And the median is the middle, so the middle is right there. So I'll have to add those together and divide by 2, and you end up with 6. So the mean was 6 1/3. The median is 6. And then the mode is the one that's there most often, and you can see from the list 5 is there most often. We also have measurements of dispersion, which are a statistic that tells you how dispersed or spread out data values are. The simplest one is the range, which is the difference between the greatest and least data value. So it's the maximum number minus the minimum number. That's your range. The more common one is the standard deviation, which describes the typical difference, or deviation, between a data's value and the mean. So this is kind of like that. You notice you take your data value and subtract the mean. So it's kind of like the average of the differences. So you find all the differences to the average of that, and that's your standard deviation essentially. And you have this big nice formula, which is, exciting looking. Think of having a lot of data points. You have to first find the mean and then plug it into there. It's a lot of fun. So let's find the standard deviation of this data set. So the first thing you have to do is you need to find the mean. So 4 plus 8 plus 12 plus 15 plus 3 over 5, which is 8.4, and then we have to plug it into the formula, so it's the square root. You take a number and subtract the mean, and you square it, and then you take the next number and subtract the mean, and you square it, and you take the next number and subtract the mean, and you square it, and you take the next number and subtract the mean, and you square it, and you take the next number and subtract the mean, and you square it, and then you divide that by the number of numbers, and then you square root everything. And you do all that, and you should end up with 4.59. And I think that's ridiculous. That was only 5 numbers. Yeah, I know. So, there's a button on your calculator. For a TI calculator, you'll hit Stat, Edit, and you'll enter the data values in list 1. You might have to clear the list first. And then you go Stat button, Calc. You go over the Calc menu. Then you select one variable, stats. And you're probably just going to hit enter a couple times. So your data is in list 1, no frequency data. And then you scroll down the list until you see the standard deviation of x. If you have the number calculator, you'll select Statistics from the home screen. And then you'll go to the Data tab. And you'll enter all the data values in list 1. And then you go to the Stat tab. And then you just go down and it tells you the standard deviation. Much quicker. So let's go ahead and try that for our data here. So I have the numworks. I'm going to go to Statistics. I'm going to enter my numbers in. And then I'm going to go to Stats. And look at that, standard deviation is 4.59. Oh, notice, it also tells me my mean. It also tells you the median. What? A calculator does all that for you? Yes, it does.